Broadcasting live from the mixed-up world of Hyrule, this is the Link to the Past Randomizer League. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Bobtastic, and joining me today on commentary is Relkin. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm doing all right, and my name's definitely not Eddie, like you might see. Ignore what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's going to change pretty soon. It was going to be Edium because, for those of you who don't know, the two teams going on in this race, we've got my team, Beard Force 1, and Edium's team, which is the Titans Mitts. And we were going to have me and Edium here on commentary, but something's wrong with Edium's mic, unfortunately. So we will be proceeding like this is, and I will do my best not to be completely biased.
Well, good thing I'm here, right? Either way, this Ambrosia race is starting, and the boots are in the light world. That's kind of one of the worst hints you can get, just because that's a kind of a blanket statement.
Yeah, there's a literal million checks in the light world. I think that's the actual number.
Either way, we start out with a potion in our own house here today. That's immediate relief on going to Kakariko and not orphaning sick kid. That's a bit of a relief. All right, so Dr. Bob, how much do you know about prize packs?
A little bit. So generally, at least in Escape, there are two different prize packs you can work with. One of them is on the guards, and one of them is on like the rats and the snakes in the back. So that prize pack there is the magic prize pack, which does not contain any bombs. So they'll be done there.
Yeah, so the full magic drop it immediately indicates to us that all of the guards in this area of Hyrule Castle, including the blue guards, including the knife guards, those will not drop bombs at any point during their prize pack sequence. The next time we can try and hope for bombs in this sequence will be on the rats in the dark areas of the castle.
Yep. Now, I think the magic pool contains a lot of full magic. I think there's a heart in it, and that's about it. Like, there's really not much in that pool. I mean, you're not going to say no to magic, because, not going to lie, I have totally gone many times to magic-required things without it. So, things like trying to do magic bat without magic, that's fun.
Hey, that looks a little familiar.
Did somebody roll this seed weird?
Yeah, for those that, don't ever watch the vanilla game or play the vanilla game, that is where the boomerang can be in the vanilla game. In fact, that is the first instance of where you can find the boomerang.
So, this could be a biased commentary, but our tracker is on the Titans Mitts team, so I'm gonna try to keep it pretty even-handed here. Oh, speaking of, we've got ourselves a hammer from Zelda's cell here.
Yeah, that's a significant offense upgrade. Doubt we'll see either Daaanty or UA use that throughout the escape sequence just because it involves a menu, and typically the rest of the enemies inside here don't require the hammer to kill quicker, so we'll see the hammer later on.
It would have been nice to have the hammer to fight the ball and chain guard, just throwing that out there.
That's very true.
Right after you do that. Now, of course, if you don't get bombs here in the front of Escape, all is not lost. And and the items in the back of escape are still going to be in logic because unlike what some people think, in standard mode, you get the free light cone and escape. That light cone stays there throughout the game. So even if you don't get the lamp, you can still go back through the front to get the items in the back, even if you don't have the glove. Though you'd like to have the glove. Let's just put it that way. Significantly longer to get there from the front.
All right, back to what we were talking about earlier about prize packs. If these rats drop either a heart and then fairy, or small magic to start, or bombs in general, then we'll have some bombs potential. We already saw hearts there from one of the rats, so we're looking for fairy next.
Gonna say no.
The snakes are not part of the rat surprise pool.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay, well with that chest, we now have to rely on rats to bail us out here, going to the back. All right, this is the last room where we could even hope.
Oh, this is it.
So we have to kill and hope that the drops. Oh, Daaanty doesn't know. I don't think Daaanty knows.
Maybe he knows, he just doesn't care, because the 8 bomb drop is quite a bit into that pool, I believe.
Yeah, it's at least 4, I think, in. He just doesn't feel like he wants to waste time. Yeah, confirmed. It's at least 4 with that red rupee drop. Oh, well, doesn't that feel bad? Wow. Okay, so the persistence pays off. UA getting an 8 bomb drop from this prize pack. Let's see if this looks gonna hurt.
Oh, we've got a bow. 50 rupees and a fire rod. Jesus H. Christ on a pogo stick.
I'm gonna go with yeah. That's kind of important. So this is part of the reason why some runners don't like standard mode. Am I correct in saying that?
Some people don't like standard mode because of that. What?
All right, now this is getting silly.
Seed, why? So for those of you wondering what we were reacting to, that was the moon pearl on the lumberjack tree. So, guess we're doing Aga.
Well, if we didn't want to come back to the castle, ever again, now we have a real good reason to come back.
Yeah, I imagine that will cut down on the time it takes for Daaanty to actually find that bow and fire rod.
Daaanty probably didn't want to start there. He started there by accident. He's gonna probably head into Kakariko from the south here.
Yeah, he's gonna farm bombs, I think, from the bushes down south, which makes sense given that he didn't find bombs and escape. Yep, Unknown having to let us know that he's not terribly happy about that moon pearl situation. And another big 20 for Unknown. And now both of our runners will be converging on Kakariko Village from the north and south. We're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned Kakariko pincer attack. Seed broken. Yeah, so here's what I'm surprised about. I remember in the code, at least way back in the day when the uncle spoiling the boots location was just kind of a random feature of standard, when it was on the race game, it said, seat is broken, boots are on race game. Like, that's what the uncle would tell you. So apparently that changed.
Interesting. That's something I definitely would not have known, having joined the community way after that fact. Either way, we got a bunch of money in the front of Blind's hut and a heart container, I believe, as well. And a little bit of more money in the back.
And although we did pick up those boots at the race game, there's no particular need to use them in the library, as it's just a piece of heart. Now, Daaanty has 1 bomb, so I imagine he might go ahead and use that on the chicken hut and then buy 10 more. Meyer Straits, get out. Don't actually get out. That was amazing.
I mean, it wasn't me that originally made the reference, but you know. Oh, Daaanty gets a nice little help from the rat there, having less now, not needing to farm as much for bombs.
So he went to the bomb hut and got an unexpected 8 bomb drop. He did get a glove in the well, which is very nice for both of our runners, but especially for Daaanty, making it a little easier to get to the back of escape.
I don't know. If I'm Daaanty, I feel like that back of escape is now weighing on my mind, seeing that the rat dropped a bomb.
I feel like it was probably deliberate on Dante's part. I don't think he wouldn't know that about the prize packs. He's got this whole. If you didn't know, I heard he runs a podcast about this game, or at least is a co-host of said podcast.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I think it's called Go Mode Podcast. Well, anyway. UA going to be finishing up, getting to go to his boots on race game. Daaanty going to be getting his loads and loads of cash in Blind's hut. Blind was actually a successful thief this seed. What do you say?
Yeah, keeping his stash behind, though his security is not quite as high as you would think. All right, so Unknown about to pick up the boots. Went for the blind race gameplay, actually. Which is kind of one of my favorite plays to make anyway.
All right, well, since we know where the Moon Pearl is, we're going to be looking for a way to go kill Agahnim. At some point, we would need the lamp. We would need either another sword or a cape.
So now both of our runners have those gloves. So as soon as they get that Agahnim access, you know, the whole Dark World is their oyster. Oh! And speaking of bows and junk, Daaanty just picked up the second bow at Bonk Rocks. So he's about to get silvers.
2 early bows. That's suspicious.
Both runners did in fact check the Lumberjack Cave. Unknown did so slightly more violently. Now, bows and fire rod, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of screams out like Eastern Palace lamp situation. Like lamp on actual Armos.
That's actually a pretty valid guess there, because we got with the new advanced logic, it's still fairly recent. It's like 5 months ago, yes, but it's recent enough to bring up again. The lamp could be on Armos Knights if the big key is a place where it does not require darkroom navigation ability. Or, you know, it could just be behind Sahasrahla. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, there's also that. So, the boots were at the race game. Both runners picked it up. Alright, so Unknown is being pretty thorough with the check of the south area. Went west from the dam to go to Agahnim Cave, and then we'll probably head southeast to Mini Moldworm Cave as well. Alright, blue male, first chest in Eastern. Now we still need a sword or a cape to get into Aga Tower.
I'd venture to guess we're going to find it fairly soon, considering we're in Eastern. Okay, so let's talk about Ambrosia a little bit. So you see Daaanty just found blue mail and a piece of heart already in Eastern. Well, he knows now that once he finds the big key, he can go straight to Armos Knights.
Oh, well, there's the cape in Mini Moldworm Cave.
Yep, and that, and like we were talking about earlier, that puts all of us into the no mode of being able to get the Moon Pearl at this point. But yeah, Ambrosia mode, if you don't know, Ambrosia mode puts an item on the boss, no matter what. So there's 3 items to get in Eastern Palace as a whole. Daaanty already found 2 of them. That means the last one is sitting on Armos Knights.
Now the unfortunate part is the big key is turning out to be vanilla, so he still has to come over here. But that does mean you can check that out pretty quickly, and you can know for certain that Armos is available, and it is also in logic thanks to the lamp. Unknown, are you about to try to do Lampless Aga?
I mean, he does have the fire rod, so it's not out of the entire realm of possibilities.
Yeah, fire rod Aga is reasonable. Silvers, so they will be at Bonk Rocks for unknown availability. The first bow that we saw was in the back of Escape, and the last one was at Bonk Rocks.
Coming in here with such low health and low attack power without those silvers, this dungeon's a bit scarier.
Yeah, and I'm imagining he wants to save his magic for fire rod shots, because the fire rod will of course take care of those particular guards in one hit. You have a blue potion though. Meanwhile, Daaanty takes down Armos. I didn't see what item dropped.
It looked inconsequential to me, so...
Alright, so Unknown is about to head through Lampless Aghanim's tower.
And he changed
Or
his mind.
not! It's like, wait a minute. Oh well. I was about to be very impressed.
You know, sometimes you're like today's the day. I'll do lampless Aga Tower with a different fire source. And then you're just like, wow, I guess today is not that day after all.
Yeah, the rooms in Aga Tower that are actually somewhat difficult to do are also the ones that have torches in them. So it's fairly doable with the fire rod.
He's gonna feel a little silly in just a second.
If he leaves directly from here, he and Daaanty might end up climbing Aga Tower at roughly the same time.
Seems as though he's also interested in clearing out Eastern while he's over here.
Yeah, I mean, I would be as well. Though I wouldn't be surprised to see Daaanty bail from here after getting that cape. Oh, also making a thorough check of Ice Rod Cave. The only reason I might want to save Ice Rod Cave and such for later is just because I don't have the Moon Pearl yet. But then again, you can do the Boots Water Walk, so that also works.
I see what Daanty's doing here. He set up a fake flipper here intentionally to water walk away from Hobo. That way when he gets to Waterfall Cave, he'll have his water walk still.
Yeah, not only does the water walk make it easier or make it possible to get out of or get to the waterfall here, but it also makes it easier to get out of Hobo because all you gotta do is jump straight down. You don't have to line up your jump to cross the threshold at the right point. Alright, so Daaanty showing us a shield on Lake Hylia Island and heading up to the Zora area. Alright, just bombs and a big 20 in the waterfall ferry.
Yeah, thankfully for Daaanty, there was no there were no heart pieces that fully refilled his health there, so he does not have to worry. Also, a heart piece there means he does not need to worry about splash deleting right here as well. Just finish off with the only logical check here was Zora, and be on our way.
Oh, there's a second sword for Daaanty on Zora, so that's a second way to get up Aga Tower.
Yeah, now he has both. Not that he cares, he has both. He has a way to do it, and he's going to do it now.
So if you get a heart piece that gives you a full heart, or that fills up your heart, you'll be swimming again in the cave.
Yeah, and without Moon Pearl in that cave, you cannot regain your water walk state by exiting the cave. So you might call it a bit of a risk, but I think it's worth the risk when you're trying to be efficient.
Yeah.
And honestly, that doesn't necessarily ruin the entire play on Zora area. It just could It could ruin the other chest inside Waterfall if you don't Moon Pearl, if you check the wrong one first. But other than that, it's a bit of a low risk play, but it does have some risk.
All right, just a full heart there from Armos now. And so now, Unknownavailability, I imagine, will be heading to Aga 1. The unfortunate part of that being that he probably won't have the sword from Zora. All right, so Unknown heading up to Aga 1, while Daaanty is much closer to Aga 1. Will be approaching shortly. So if anyone wants to guess how many unfortunate blue projectiles we get here, feel free. Somebody's got to go for the 15. Don't worry if you don't know what ambrosia is. It is a common enough question. We have a command for it. So let's talk a little bit about ambrosia strategy here while we're doing this. So one of the things about ambrosia is, as you mentioned, that the boss of every dungeon is going to have a non-dungeon item, right?
Correct.
So I think, like, personally, this may seem like the obvious strategy, but I think it's worth discussing. Personally, I think one of the main things you do in ambrosia is try not to dip a dungeon if you can't full clear it, because you know there's something on the boss.
Yeah, like maybe a Skull Woods or a Misery Mire or a Desert Palace, so to speak, because they only have 2 items, which means there's only 1 item available to you at most.
Yeah. So it drops the value of those dungeons significantly.
All right, Daaanty taking down Agahnim. Gonna get a quick look at what's on the pyramid here before he goes to get his Moon Pearl. Just a big 20. He's not interested.
And Unknown is about to get to Agahnim 1 as well. So after acquiring this Moon Pearl, what do you think Daanty's going to go?
I think since he's over here and he has a Fire Rod, he'll probably head to Skull Woods first.
Yeah, that does seem like a reasonable play.
Seeing that he is running out of here, I think I might be correct in this assumption.
No, our runners both have both the hammer and glove, so should be able to enter the Dark World at many different locations.
I mean, if many different is 2 or 3 to you, then yeah, that's... But yes, we can enter the Dark World from 3 points at this point.
And of course 4 if you count the Agahnim portal. Alright, so looks like we saw another pendant at Misery Mire.
How about that red crystal? I did not catch that.
Yeah, the red crystal I think was ice. Don't hold me to it.
Seems to be ice from the general consensus in chat. This room right here is one of the worst in the game.
Yeah. Now, Daaanty does have the blue boomerang, which is something you can use to make it easier on you. Because the boomerang, either one actually, will stun the Gibdos. The hook shot, strangely enough, will not stun the Gibdos.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. Also, we saw the other item that's not in the boss, so we can go straight to Macula and be done with this now.
Yeah, so you get to skip a ton of this dungeon if you find the first item at some point. Unknown was about to go get the Moon Pearl, decides, hey, I'm going to go check Bonk Rocks real quick. That's probably a good call, especially considering what's there.
Yep. Feeling a little gypped because he could have had that a lot earlier for perhaps his Armos Knights fight or the Aga Tower climb. But, you know, better late than never, right?
Mm-hmm. Personally, I kind of like to use silver arrows in the room that Daanty's in when I'm trying to save magic. As the silver arrows do, in fact, you know, one-shot the Gibdos. Interestingly enough, the normal arrows do precisely jack to the Gibdos.
Yeah, arrows do not work on Gibdos, unfortunately. I think with Master Sword, though, this fight is significantly easier. It may not be still the easiest way, obviously, because Tempered Sword is king, but it's easier than Fighter Sword for sure. And we got a male upgrade. Everything does one heart.
The fight that Unknown might be in for here.
That is a good point. Yeah, he does not have that Zora sword. Daaanty needs to be careful. He's probably going to pull out that potion. Yep. Safe and sorry. I like it.
But also, interestingly enough, Unknown is taking the route to the old man on the Death Mountain. This is an interesting play, given the fact that as of right now, you've still only got the 2 items up here that you can check. Technically 3.
Yeah, actually, logically not, because you need half magic with the cape for Spike Cave.
Well, that or a bottle.
Oh yeah, I guess bottles do let you do that. You have to have at least one invincibility item for sure.
But because Unknown is out of magic, I don't expect him to do it. I think Daanty's coming down here for a key, maybe?
But he doesn't need to because he forgot that it's Ambrosia and he has both items already.
Oh. Like, I forgot he'd actually already beaten Moth. Uh-oh.
Let's hope this doesn't become a trend.
I feel like he'll probably realize it before he heads to the front part of Skull Woods. Alright, so Unknown, instead of heading for Skull Woods, is deciding to head to the Dark World at the Aga portal. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking the save and quit location for later, especially when you don't have the the flute. Yeah, Daaanty is about to clear out the front of Skull Woods, having acquired both items.
He's even, you know what? Aside from him forgetting this, we'll get to see a little bit of hovering treat here. Although he's Moldorms are not being friendly.
This is what we call a derp with style. I mean, one of the things they talked about on the Go Mode podcast actually a while back was how hovering is really not that hard. So a lot of people who listened to it kind of picked it up.
Yeah, Daanty's going to feel real bad in just a second here.
Our catfish has a full heart, so there's some free stuff for Unknown. It looks like Daaanty has finally full cleared Skull Woods and is going to head out. Alright, Bumper Cave is a bottle. Nothing wrong with that, but Daaanty already has one, so he's pretty okay with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it, nothing progressive about it either, though, so he doesn't care.
I think if that bottle contained, like, a blue potion, I'd be tempted to get it. Anyways, so there is a bug net for Daaanty in the good old C-shaped house. And Daaanty will be heading into Thieves Town. Meanwhile, Unknown will be going into pods. We're getting two simultaneous disparate dungeon dips here.
He gets the big key in the first chest, which means this is a bow-locked pod.
Yeah. Luckily, the bow was quite early, so that's not really a problem. But that can indicate, because the bow was early and Bahad was bow-locked, that there might be something more in store here.
Daaanty, meanwhile, finding his team name in Thieves Town today, real quick in the front.
Well, there we go. Now, of course, on Unknown side, we're in the front of pod, so we're expecting quite a few small keys here. In fact, it's incredibly likely that both of these two chests over here are small keys. Not guaranteed.
Although if they both aren't small keys, that is actually nicer for routing purposes. And see, there we go.
Oh, look at that. So now Unknown, provided he recognizes the pod key logic, should know that the remaining chests up front, like this one he's about to bonk into, and the big key chest and the Stalfos chest, those are all small keys. Now, I definitely have no problem with picking this one up. If you go on and check the rest, though, that means you haven't read up on your key logic.
Yeah, so this will be all. This will pretty much be all for naught here for UA. Yeah, at least four keys in the front. Once you find the other two non-small keys, you are well aware of the other key layouts in the front. So.
speaking of counting, looks like Daaanty has actually counted all the items in Thieves Town and left behind the chest next to the maiden.
Already learning from his mistakes. Good adaptability, Daaanty.
And a nice, pretty formulaic blind fight here. Taking a little bit of damage on the last phase, but no real problems. And the hook shot, ladies and gentlemen, available on blind.
Now that's a find.
On blind. It's a find. I see what you did there.
I actually did it unintentionally. So the hook shot. The hook shot opens up quite a bit right now with our current equipment.
Yep. You've got that, the giant chunk of the mountain that's available now. And as the Titan's Mitts were also included in that package, you've also got Dark Death Mountain.
And
Oh!
Finds the Cane of Samaria and Pod Big Chest.
So about that early indication that Pod has an item, the Cane of Samaria is right available.
Yeah, I think the seed might want us to go to Turtle Rock. I don't know about you.
That's entirely possible. Turtle Rock would be available there, and aside from not having the ice rod completable, although again, in Ambrosia, you'd like to have the ice rod before you go into Turtle Rock.
Daaanty gonna finish up his Dark World checks here to check Hype Cave, and afterwards he'll probably do a save and quit and go turn the Smith.
The other cane available in Hype Cave for the low, low price of talking to the dude. And basically nothing else.
For all we care, that cane doesn't do much for us that we couldn't already possibly have done with the cape. So, yeah, Hype Cave is lackluster at best.
Alright, speaking of lackluster at best, we've got King's Tomb going on over here. I actually don't know if that's going to be lackluster or not. We'll find out. Yep, pretty much. Unknown having a little trouble with those turtles. I mean, I have a little trouble with those turtles, so I can't really say anything.
I mean, you could say something. You'd just be mocked about it, you know.
True. Fair enough. Okay, Helmosaur fight for unknown availability while Daaanty picks up 10 arrows from our blacksmith friends.
Fight goes a lot faster with silver arrow. Nice meat grade.
Alright, just a heart for Unknown, but or a piece of heart there. But he did get the Cane of Samari out of there, which is going to be pretty useful for later. Though I imagine we'll see some plays over to West Dark World soon from Unknown. Looks like he's going to leave here, though, and probably head toward Hype Cave to the south. While Daaanty will be taking his first trip up to Death Mountain. Oh, Unknown changing his mind. Alright, Daaanty heading to East Death Mountain. We're getting our first check of Paradox Cave. 7 entire chests. Could have basically all we need at this point. Alright, 3 hundo, big 20, another 3 hundo, another big 20, and bombs. We've got a perfectly symmetrical top of Paradox Cave.
But a pretty terrible one, if you ask me.
That is true. I mean, unless you've drunk your potions, in which case you can go refill them now. Though it's kind of out of the way to do so. Single arrow of destiny sitting on the floating island. Unknown finds a green rupee in Skull Woods, and he's going to go ahead and just get himself grabbed. He will also be heading directly to the boss. Scamfish was checked quite a bit earlier, and Daaanty got a sword from it.
Ooh, nice unbuffered hook speed parapot clip there from Daaanty. I like.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that one.
I buffer it just because it's easier for me. Wow, Daaanty gets lucky here. Since it's Ambrosia, he knows the last item's gonna be on the boss, so he skipped the big key entirely.
Wow.
Man, why does that never work out for me?
I know, right? I'm not salty at all. I mean...
I'm a bit salty about how Daaanty started out with a Master Sword Slash in this fight.
But it looks like he did another one to sort of fix the problem. Okay, all the money was on Death Mountain, apparently.
Yeah, Hera was pretty empty in terms of progression.
Right, Unknown is using hammer strats here on Moth and pulls it off. Wow. Well done. Rando League Week 2, the search for more money.
Yeah, that was a very fast fight. Moth cooperated so well, and UA was pretty spot on with his hammer hit.
Yeah, the hammer is not easy to use on that fight. That is some pretty impressive work there. Oh, speaking of swords, Daaanty just picked one up in Spiral Cave. I at least feel like Unknown will get that one eventually.
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance.
Alright, so Daaanty is now in the Dark World. We'll go through Super Bunny Cave, and we'll get to see what the medallion for Turtle Rock is, I'm pretty sure. I imagine Daaanty would want to know that.
Finds the other boomerang. Nothing much to speak of in Super Bunny Cave, but Hookshot Cave upcoming. Hopefully we'll have something more. Just gonna check out this medallion first, by the looks of it. It is Ether. Okay, that's a bit interesting because UA could very well go into Turtle Rock in his first trip up.
Yeah, UA has the option to enter Turtle Rock when he gets up here. Now, whether or not the ice rod will be here is yet to be seen. But there's a mirror in Hookshot Cave.
And a flute.
Good lord.
So that gives us desert access all in one right there.
That it does. And now Daanty's gonna go ahead and check out Spike Cave while he's up here. Which
you know what?
Unknown elected to not do.
We are actually only ice rod away from go mode.
Oh boy! It's time for everybody's favorite game show.
Where in the world is the godforsaken ice rod? TM.
That is correct.
I felt like someone had to toot your horn there, and I just had to not let it be you. That's all I'm mad at me.
Exactly. Well, I would have dropped a few bars of the theme song, but not really supposed to do that, so I won't.
Nah, I appreciate that.
All right, Unknown picking up the Titan's mitts. Once Unknown finishes the rest of Thieves Town, he will have the hook shot at his disposal, so he'll probably go up to Death Mountain just like Daaanty. Daaanty, on the other hand, is heading over to Pod, where he will be able to locate the Cane of Samaria.
The one thing we do not want to see from here on out is flippers, because one, that opens up Swamp, which is a pendant. Two, Ice Palace could have the Ice Rod, and we'd like to go mode Ice Palace if at all possible.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, though, because of, as you were saying, Turtle Rock seemed like a very solid, leaning for this seed. I feel like there's a reasonable chance that the Ice Rod is just literally inside Turtle Rock.
Only issue with, it being in Turtle Rock or not is you go into Turtle Rock, you can't save your portal at this point. We've killed Agahnim. That's out of the question now.
Mm-hmm.
So multiply that risk by 5 times in my view, and you got yourself an interesting choice.
Yeah, Unknown did finish Pod. So he not only has the Cane of Samari, but also the crystal for Pod. So after Unknown finishes Thieves Town, we will actually have, relatively even crystal counts.
So it seems like neither Daaanty nor Unknown knew about the pod or are aware of the pod key logic that's currently laid out.
Yeah. You know what? That's okay. Not everybody has to know every little thing about the game. I'm sure there are plenty of things I don't know how to do. Like, that silly Hera boot speed flip. Unknown was about to go to the big chest and then realized, oh right, the last item's on the boss. Unknown once again only on about 5 hearts going into the blind fight. And the blind fight with Fighter's Sword is ever so slightly different than the blind fight with the other swords. Just because the Fighter's Sword is slightly shorter. So we can see it went a little off of the normal script, decided to go left instead of right. Zigged when it should have zagged. But Unknown does have some cape. So emergency cape strats, always welcome. And there it is, Unknown has the hook shot. Daaanty, on the other hand, acquiring the Cane of Samaria in Pod. Looks like he pulled off a hammer jump while I wasn't looking. Alright, so Daaanty will now be heading to the boss of Pod, while Unknown is going to be clearing out the southern section of Dark World. Alright, Unknown piecing right out with that that lift on the rock, the dark rock in the digging game, and heading toward the smith, though slightly going awry there.
Yeah, took a bit of a wrong turn at Albuquerque, but makes his way to the smith. Daaanty coming up on their Helmet Sword fight in just a second. Tempered Sword and Hammer, Tempered Sword / Silvers. It's a even faster fight. I feel like you could just not menu to Silvers to be.
Yeah, I think it's significantly faster to just use the Tempered Sword to hit it 4 times. Oh no, but he's going for the Silvers. So yeah, you know what? If you're Daaanty and you're actually good at menuing, then it might actually be faster.
Actually, you know what? It's Gold Sword I'm thinking of. That's faster to not menu. I think it's only slightly faster to mirror to silvers, to menu to silvers with tempered sword than it, but it is not faster if you have gold sword.
Yeah, because gold sword is just 2 hits, and so tempered would be 4 hits, unless you're already like holding out the sword from doing the hammer hits, and then you can get in a spin and do 2 more. All right, so Unknown gonna check out some of these locations that Daaanty checked out before, and speaking of Daaanty, he's about to say hello to everyone's favorite swag duck.
Yes, and with this flu activation, he'll make his way over to the mire area, most likely to 1, clear out desert, and 2, get a glimpse at what's in the mire area itself.
Yeah, that would seem like the most reasonable play at the moment, yeah. Quacktivation. Oh my goodness.
Seems like he might be interested in purple chests, maybe?
Yeah,
So I think he's gonna
that
do
seems
that.
reasonable. Yeah, and there's also a bunch of like random mirror spots that you could check.
And to trying to be a bit thorough with his checks here.
Yeah, I mean when all you've got is the ice rod, then basically any inclination for where it might be kind of goes out the window. Because the ice rod could be basically anywhere. Alright, Daaanty just gonna flip right away to turn in said purple chest. Trying to figure out where Unknown is headed.
Yeah, me
Is he
too.
about to do flipper checks, I guess? Is he gonna go ice?
I guess so. That's the only thing I could think. Seems like he's also going to check Hobo.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the medallion that we need for either dungeon that needs medallions. We got Ether. So we don't need any more medallions, if anything. And there's the ice rod.
Okay.
You know what? Let's just wrap this one up and call it a night. What do you say?
Yeah, let's go home.
So that is 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 20-something seconds go mode for Mr. Daaanty.
That is, I think the technical term for that is gross. I haven't looked at the other race that was going on between our two teams. Oh, and Unknown just gets bodied by a straight Octorok shot.
Yeah. If you're fake flippering around and you get hit in a fake flipper state, that's bye-bye. This game does not soft like you like it does in vanilla.
Yeah, it's preferable to the alternative, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, either you lose a bunch of progress because you can't, save and quit, or, you die so that way you could save. Still a time loss, so it's not good either way, but it prevents, the worst.
Now, let's be fair. I don't blame Unknown for doing a check like this. If he's actually going into Ice Palace, I think, it might be a reasonable thing to do if you're feeling super behind.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't found a whole lot of good stuff. I'm a little surprised he's not going up the mountain because he has a lot of stuff to do up there, and considering he could go into Turtle Rock if he wanted to, he could.
Yeah. Well, there's a mushroom on Landmola's as Daaanty picks up another crystal. But yeah, I didn't see how that race went, but based on what it looked like, it seemed like an hour ago. It seemed like that Dark Shadows wasn't doing as well either. So we might be going 0-2 this week. But you know what? It's a game.
So who needs flippers? Am I right? Watch them be in Turtle Rock. Like that would be the silliest.
Yeah, that would be straight up dumb. Watch them be literally on Trinex.
Very well could be. Good news for Unknown. He's gonna get the sword on Zora.
All right. So Unknown, still not going to the mountain. Because we know that the mountain is where Unknown needs to go if he wants to finish the seed fairly quickly. Okay, now it looks like Unknown actually is going to be doing Ice Palace.
Daaanty getting that successful hover for the Ice Palace bomb jump substitute.
It's the Ice Palace bomb jump skip. Guess Unknown was trying to see if he could see the island from there. And Daaanty just falling down to Cold Stare. So I imagine this is going to be, shall we say, a pretty quick end game here for Daaanty. With the Tempered Sword in hand as well as Silvers. I don't imagine this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think you're right here.
Though, if you are curious about what's in Ice Palace, you're going to be able to see it over on Unknownavailability side.
In terms of progression, it's not going to have anything we care about. Because we've already found everything we care about. Plus, the flippers can't be here anyway.
Gloves are in Ganon's tower, eh? I'm assuming that was either entrance or inverted. Or you just added a bunch of gloves to the pool for no reason. Alright, Daaanty made it up. Oh, beatable only. Okay. So anyways, Daaanty headed up to the mountain. Gonna head to Turtle Rock, clear it right out. Probably not check all the things. Oh, it's definitely not beatable only here. We were having a slightly different conversation there. This is still 7-7. Need to go beat Ganon, or defeat Ganon. You still need to go to the top of Death Mountain to get the Ganon's tower and finish that.
Nice little use of bombs there to kill off the pen gators. Bombs do one-shot pen gators.
Yep, that is actually the normal strat you would use if you have just the Master Sword coming in there. That's traditionally only in the low percent categories of Link to the Past, though I don't know what they've done with low percent since the discovery of Ensil manipulation, how you can get rid of like hearts and stuff. Like, I don't know if they've actually messed with it.
I honestly have no idea, but over on Daanty's side, we are forced to go to the right side here to look for at least one small key and whatever else may be here. Daaanty, almost missing that torch there.
Yeah, there's basically no scenario in which you wouldn't go to the right-hand side here of Turtle Rock. Even if you did find a small key, you'd still come over here because probably another small key, and in this case the big key, would be over here. Alright, well, Unknown is now headed to Cold Stare. So another thing about Ambrosia is I feel like it doesn't punish you as badly for not go-moding dungeons, because you find all the items you'll need a lot quicker, and then once you found the, all but one of the items, you can go to the boss.
All right, Daaanty going to steal his key from the Pokey to an effort to skip most of the dungeon. UA getting rid of Colster's shell here.
I feel like Daanty's the kind of person who'll skip the big chest in this scenario.
Or, he could just die to a rogue Pokey attachment.
Oh, and he doesn't have any safeties. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was kind of in his health situation there. It didn't look good, and I was a bit worried about his safety. So yeah, he bit the dust there, and we'll have to trek all the way back. Speaking of health situations, UA is a bit low on his end. Can he clutch it out? I think the answer is yes. Nicely finished.
Scared me to death right about there. Alright. Unknown acquiring the crystal from Ice Palace. And he's also acquired the crystal from Pod, so he's on 5. But he is going to have to go up to Death Mountain to get what he needs for Desert. And I feel like Unknown probably will go into Turtle Rock without the Ice Rod. Seems like the sort of thing he'd do. Especially if he continues checking other random locations before then. He really wants to know what's on that island.
So Daaanty does not get a small key in the crystal roll room here, so he'll continue on, hopefully getting a small key on Laser Bridge, which will enable him to not have to venture back to the big chest.
Yeah, there is there's one unfortunate scenario where the big key, or where the big key chest has the small key, where there might not be a small key down here, but it's very unlikely. And Daaanty gets the immediate small key and is headed to Trident. Alright, Unknown getting that, once again, perfectly symmetrical Paradox Cave out of the way, while Daaanty going in for backdoor Trinax.
Yeah, it doesn't save as much time as Gold Sword backdoor Trinax would, but it can save you from potentially having to deal with the ice being thrown around or Trinax's head going out for a second time.
And this is going to be Daanty's 7th crystal, so I believe we all know what time it is. Get your guesses in. There are 22 potential locations for that big key. So make sure that you are ready to put those in, because we are going to close this off as soon as Daaanty enters Ganon's tower on our screen. All right.
I was going to say, Unknown is trying his hand at hook speed clip here. Got number 1, a small key. And half magic number 2.
Oh, an Unknown pulls it off. And Daaanty is going to head right after getting that one small key. So Unknown's going to go ahead and finish off Hera, which makes plenty of sense. Alright, nothing of any real significance on the right-hand side of GT, and oh no! Unknown getting bodied down the center hole on Moldorm.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. And the big key was just sitting over on the left. Who knew?
Yep, so that is going to be number 7.
And with that, the winner is Ilpala. Congratulations. Do we have a prize for them today, Dr. Bob? I don't know. I didn't come prepared.
I mean, there's 22 points in it, and points are all that matters, right?
All right, yeah. The points do matter. It's not who's line.
Yeah, unless it's SRL, because SRL points also don't matter. Alright, so we've got Daaanty heading up the good old gauntlet. And try to take down these enemies as quickly as possible. That's all it is up here. Just a non-stop beatdown 24/7. And a 3-shot, 3-kill for Daaanty on Landmo, which is going to be real good. And we enter my favorite rooms in the game. It was so much fun. Just nailing those whiz ropes to the wall. The ice rod was in the Misery Mire shed, so Unknown still has to find the flute in order to get there. Now, Unknown should be finding the flute pretty soon, but then he'll have to leave Death Mountain to get the ice rod and come back. Unfortunately, he does have the ability to go into Turtle Rock, so it's likely he's going to head that direction as well. Waste a little extra time. The flute was up in Hookshot Cave.
Dude, Daaanty trying to hover the
Oh!
yeah, does not quite make it. He's gonna do it again. I think he's gonna do it till he gets it.
I mean, okay. Okay, he's gonna go ahead and deal with Trolldorm. I was about to say, if you do a third one, you're just being disrespectful. Not really, but you get the idea. I mean, if you're Daaanty, you probably got to figure you're miles ahead after getting that ice rod, just because of where it was.
Yeah, it was kind of readily available, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was readily available to anyone who didn't stay on Death Mountain.
Fair enough.
And the fact that Daaanty found the Cane of Samaria afterwards probably makes him think, okay, my opponent found this already. They're going to waste a bunch of time in Turtle Rock, and I'm going to win. So I can understand being confident that you're ahead at this point. All right, Daaanty into the Ganon fight with a tempered sword and silver arrows. This should be, a rather academic exercise. At least Unknown is piecing out from Death Mountain.
Ooh, gets nailed by a bat there. That's not what you want to see.
Oof.
All right, take two. Going decently well, I'd say. He's got no hits taken. Daaanty, that is.
Who said Hype Cave was worthless? Daaanty pulling out the cane of Burna, which came from there.
I didn't say it was worthless, I just said it was lackluster. Phase 4. Silvers, yes, we got them. They were pretty early. You didn't hide them that well at all. Like, what are you doing, Ganon?
And just one more shot, and this will be done. There goes Ganon.
Get your GGs in chat for Daaanty finishing in first place.
Official time is 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds. So congratulations to Daaanty. It does look like, based on what I'm seeing, that Unknown is intending to finish the seed. So we're still going to be here for a bit.
Yeah, we'll get some time to talk with Daaanty.
Sounds good. Alright, so Unknown will probably find the ice rod shortly.
Yeah, he's coming up on in just a second. If you give it... Yep, he is walking towards the shed. He will see his ice rod very shortly.
It's right there, huh? It's right there.
All right, with Unknown being go mode at 128, something, I couldn't tell exactly. We got Daaanty joining us in the interview booth. GG's, my.
Yo, thanks. GG.
Hello, 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 and congratulations on the complete and utter massacre that was today.
Man, I have some problems with this seed, just because Skullwoods. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the VOD. I miscounted, and apparently I got an item. Don't remember getting it, and so I feel like I full cleared Skullwoods for basically nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was in a bit of panic when I finished, and I'm like, wait, what did I get?
So the item was in the big key chest. It was a single ruby, if I recall.
I mean, there's. I
It
guess
was
that's so.
It was the very
insignificant.
first. Yeah, it's the very first thing you checked. So we figured you're like, oh, okay, that's the one item. That's why you went straight to Moth. But
I'm smart. Sometimes I didn't forget any big keys this race, and that's what's really important for me because I'm remembering big keys.
that's a good call. Remembering big keys.
Yeah. Speaking of dungeon silliness, I think in Pod you also had a bit of silliness. You got both non-small keys.
I literally was opening the door and walking up the stairs, and I just yelled a word, we'll say, and I knew what I had done. I was like, well, it's probably too late. I'll just get all the keys just in case. I've already done this. Why not? So yeah, I was on my A game with keys, big keys, maybe not small keys.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So Unknown on our side of the screen at least just finished off Landmo. As you may have suspected, your opponent went to Pod first and had the cane, but they also just did not elect to go into Turtle Rock, so they also dodged the Turtle Rock bait, which was good.
Yeah, when I was doing Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny, the whole time I'm thinking, please no cane, please no cane. Like I don't want that to be here because if it was, I'm gonna go in TR probably. And then Hookshot Cave had all the other goods, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not going into Turtle Rock right now. But I started getting worried about Swamp when Mirror showed up, and luckily, Ice was not there.
Yeah, we have no idea where the flippers are, let me tell you.
Yeah, I see on the restream that Unknown still doesn't have flippers, so and that he's done Ice, but yeah, I was kind of curious as to where those would show up. I mean, they could be in Desert because I left an item there, or yeah, one item there.
Yeah, there could also be, it's also fairly possible they could be in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's true, because with that key being like the first one on Laser Bridge, like the first chest, I mean, it could definitely be there, or Lava Chest, but we know it can't be in GT though, which is nice.
Yeah,
there is that. Yeah,
it can't be on Pedestal either, or in Swamp.
So yeah, your opponent's problems began early in the seed when they got the things necessary for Agahnim, but except for the lamp, and they halfway climbed up Aga Tower, and they were like, "Wait a minute."
Oh no!
They did have the fire rod. I thought they were going for fire rod to Aga Tower, which is a possibility, but it happens.
Yeah, I knew Aga was going to be the play, and obviously because Pearl's there, it's like you have to do this. So I figured, I've got boots, I can check as many things as I can in the overworld. The big outlier was I kind of orphaned Agahni's cave, and so I was a little worried that the lamp could show up there, but I figured, let's go where the density is, with Eastern and Saha, and lamp showed up, and I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a really good time to go ahead and do Aga, because I've done that same thing that Unknown's done. I've actually climbed Aga Tower with a lamp without a sword just because I was so eager to do it because I knew it was required, and that feels real bad when you get to the curtain and you can't you can't cut it.
Oh, that is unfortunate. So yeah, the seed, once you finally got to Death Mountain, things just kind of started falling into place for you there. The cane came in the course of clearing out Pod, and then of course the ice rod was basically the very next place you checked.
Yeah, I was feeling a little anxious just because nothing on the mountain had panned out, and you know, I was like, well, I'm hoping Dark Mountain has something, but I mean, luckily it did. I felt like it had to, you know, based off of everything. And I normally skip Spike Cave in that situation, but you know, it was a scenario of this is one thing, and if this turns out to be Kane, or if this turns out to be a potentially like Ice Rod, something along those lines, then I was like, I'll never get it. So I figured it was best to go ahead and invest the time then.
Yeah, because of course, when you're searching for, you know, just the ice rod or the cane and the ice rod, there's so many places that can be. It's just like, yeah, I should probably be pretty thorough about this.
Yeah, when Kane showed up for me, I was feeling pretty good. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to Meyer area after Flute. I got sidetracked doing Purple Chest, which I should have skipped, but going to Meyer, I was thinking, all right, well, if I can, I hope I can't do Meyer, because if I can, I'm gonna do it. And I could, and so I was like, this sucks. But luckily, luckily,
And
Ice
you
Rod
walk in the building and it's just like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's that thing you're looking for. It feels good, man.
Alright, so Unknown finally gets the key off the pokey. We'll be heading for the boss. So, so this particular seed, I mean, you had a time that I would consider pretty ridiculous. It's not a slow time.
Well, when you get boots that early, it kind of skews things. I feel like at least a little bit. You know, that can sometimes early boots makes for a really long seed, and sometimes it doesn't. And this was a case where it just doesn't. You know, it's hard to say. I really think that ideally you could. A lot of top tier runners probably get a sub 120 on this. I just made a few dumps. Probably shouldn't have gone to Hera, but obviously hindsight, it's really easy to say what you shouldn't have done once you've played a randomizer seed.
Yeah, you can't really be results oriented on these sort of things.
Yeah, win is a win in 1v1s. I will say though, Daaanty, I'm actually curious. In the escape sequence, the prize pack was one that could give you bombs, and you bailed on it when you were on your way to getting bombs. There,
Yeah, me and my brain just weren't working, especially early. I usually like have the prize pack thing open for standard just so I have like a reference of it, like as well as darkroom maps just as like a failsafe. But I totally didn't have any of that up, and I was like, well, I'm not wasting any more time. I'm getting out of here. I was like, something will show up where I can get in there, and if it doesn't, then oh no. But I'm not gonna. I wasn't gonna stress over it too much. I was just figured I could route it back in some way.
Yeah, in fact, that routing actually worked out pretty well for you, considering you started from the south and you got your boots, and you just head on over to Bonk.
Yeah, so you got both bows all at once, while Unknown was on one bow for a little while.
Yeah, the bows were kind of a surprise, honestly. I figured after getting that bow, I kind of thought there wasn't going to be too terribly much in the back of Escape, and then there was, you know, but wait, there's more. You know, it was basically like a little side Billy Mays room.
Yeah, I thought that was a Super Metroid thing.
It is, but you know.
Alright, well, looks like Unknown is going to show us a few more chests on Laser Bridge, but none of them have the flippers either. Alright. I had something I was going to ask you.
It'll come to you, probably. I'll hang out for a few minutes.
Because I'm a bad. Let's see.
Well, while you're trying to think of it, Daaanty, are you going to be playing Randomizer week next week?
You know, we made a template kind of what everybody was gonna do on our team, and I honestly don't even remember. I'd have to look at it. I'll be honest, I am kind of I'm on baby watch right now. My wife's due to like have a baby in the next like week or two, so plans may change really quickly. So we're kind of you know, our team, you know, the team's notified and they know what's going on. So hopefully we don't have to sub at any point, but if we do, then you know, we're just gonna have to roll with it.
Oh yeah, definitely take care there. No worries there.
Yeah, I mean, a baby is basically the ultimate form of Randomizer. I think that's.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you had a pretty nice go there in most of the dungeons. Got to go mode, you know, desert, ice, and turtle rock. What is the earliest you've ever been in a go mode situation? Do you know?
There was one seed. It got passed around a whole lot after a SpeedGaming daily, and I think the earliest I've ever been in go mode was like around 40-something minutes, and it was from that seed if I recall, because I remember entering GT around the 55-minute mark. It was something insane, and basically everyone who played it got a PB, you know, in playing Rando. So that's why it's like really not, I guess in a way it's not good to obviously, you know, compare your PB all time against every single seed, because things, you know, you see the like top tier runners have, you know, they'll have the 120s, then they'll have, you know, right at 2 hours, and honestly it's just the way the items pan out for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I definitely don't do like splits like some people do for crystals. I'm like, nah, that's just gonna make me salty.
Yeah, I don't want to think about, you know, splits between that. I kind of have a baseline in my head. Like, I learned at SG Live that, you know, I have to have a timer for my own mental sanity, because then I have a terrible sense of time. And it feels like I've been there 2 hours and it's been 20 minutes. So, yeah, timer keeps me in check.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the splits for Rando are just like a way. If you have to be that kind of guy who has to jam on the button and be like, I did a thing, then yeah, but I mean, otherwise you're not really getting any information out of it. Unknown gets the big key off the torch and pieces right out. Alright, so following Unknown to the end of this, we've got Unknown heading through the mimic rooms here. And into Mimics 2, which I'm still just straight Garbo at Mimics 2. Like, I cannot figure out the right strat to do it.
That room is a bit tricky, yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't also have Edium here on commentary. We were going to have one person from each team, but there was just a problem with Edium's mic.
Yeah, that's in a way it's not surprising. I say that because we play co-ops with Edium a good bit, and sometimes like the mic just gets super staticky. But yeah, like unfortunately that's how it panned out. It was nice to having both of you guys here, though. I appreciate you, Dr. Bob and Relkin, doing the comms. And who was on Tracker? Since I know Relkin was supposed to.
Yeah, Relkin and Edium just switch places.
Oh, okay, cool. So Edium got to track. That's cool. I appreciate that too.
So I still had to be on my best behavior.
Yeah, you can't trash me too much for making a couple of bad plays, but
see, I was gonna say that if you tried the Moldorm hover a third time, I'm like, okay, at this point you're just showing off.
Well, I felt okay at that stage, and I was like, I'm gonna try this because I always try it. And then I was like, okay, that's bad. And then I was like, just kill him. And then I took that death again, and I'm like, okay, that's really bad. So I was starting to feel a little anxious at that point. I was like, we just got to get this over with, because if a dot done happens and the difference was me trying to hover, I'm gonna probably cry.
Luckily, there wasn't really any chance of that happening, but I mean, I could definitely understand how you might have felt ahead this seed.
Well, I mean, it's at the same time, I felt like the only really two bad plays I made were, well, three, I guess, because, you know, I'm dumb about Skull Woods, apparently. But the only really bad play was Hera, and I don't see how you don't really clear Hera in that, you know, position.
Yeah. It's not, I wouldn't even consider it a bad play. It wasn't a play that was worth anything, but it was certainly, it's certainly what most people would have done, I think. I thought you got more points for having a lower collection rate.
Maybe you do. I didn't actually participate in any of the fantasy stuff. I felt like I had enough going on.
Yeah.
But
neither did I. But I did go look up what the way the points are scored at one point, just to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself, honestly. I know that bonks are counted in some of the stats.
Yeah. Something like you get 20 points if you have 10 or fewer bonks, and it subtracts 1 for every bonk after that, down to 0. It doesn't go negative, because I would have negative points. Alright. Unknown getting the fake powder on here and heading to the Moldorm 2 fight. Just a quick spin and
A fall.
no. Why? I said quick spin, and now I'm wishing that quick spins were a thing in this game. Alright, we'll see. Unknown lets us know what's in this final chest here. Nope.
Unknown.
I mean, yeah. I guess it is. And we're off to Agahnim 2. The Wizard of Trigonometry.
Got 3 single hits so far. Down he goes onto the big pig.
Unknown adding to that bonk counter.
I did that a few times in my race as well. I don't blame him.
Alright. Unknown gets the top right corner position, which is basically my favorite place for Ganon to be on phase 2. I mean, other than having already been killed on the bottom, but yeah. Unknown sitting on half a heart right now. Hopefully won't have trouble finishing this.
Yeah, he focused on a torch there just so he can have an easier time, looks like. He's not wanting to screw this fight up by dying at a very late. Just needs one more and he's good. Oh, barely gets that one and got it.
And there we go. GG's to Unknown. And that'll do it for this match for this week between Beard Force 1 and the Titans Mitts. Unknownavailability finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 2 seconds. So congratulations on that finish.
And we're immediately joined by Unknown in the voice chat. GG's.
Thank you.
Hello, hello, hello.
I'm sorry, Dr. Bob, I tried.
I mean, let's be fair. Like, in terms of skill, like, our entire team was hopelessly outclassed this week.
There's no doubt about it. We discussed that, as a matter of fact, and I'm happy I kept it even within an hour.
Dang,
No, that's exaggerating a little bit. I'm glad I at least, I don't know. I don't even know what to say on that. Like, I felt good and felt great, and I just need to keep my eyes off of IRC when I'm playing, because as soon as I see any kind of indication that I'm done, my endgame's just garbage, and I start playing like absolute crap, so.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but we've still got quite a bit to go left in the league here. The run was pretty solid all around. There were a couple of things you could have done differently, but you know, I didn't disagree with really any of your plays.
I could have gone to East Death Mountain a lot sooner, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course that gave everything else that I needed, but I don't know. My routing in this version's all.
At least you didn't get baited into Turtle Rock.
No, I opened it because I was going to be leaving anyway, and I figured whenever I came back up, I could I was going to have to find the mirror unless it was in Turtle Rock. So it was either come back around in the Dark World using the hook shot or come back around using the mirror. So it was one of the.
Yeah.
But definitely GG's, Daaanty. You absolutely wrecked me there.
Yo, GG. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of something like this many a time, so you know, it's how rando goes. I think it's just sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you just don't get lucky, I guess.
Rando's gonna rando sometimes. So next week, we've got the Randomizer week, as we were saying before. Once again, I kind of tried to bow out of Randomizer.
Yo, Randomizer's fun. Like,
No, it's not. Don't listen to his lies.
I love Randomizer. I'm just glad we're not facing Titans Mitts on the Randomizer week.
Yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of Randomizer. I can do it, but it's not my favorite thing, so that's why I bowed out of that one. But who are we all playing next week?
so the Titans Mitts plays Skullwood's Big Skip. I believe that's Chimo, Fleck, and Cascade Hope. So the only person on that team I think I've ever played against is Fleck, and we had a race in the a Plando tournament thing that was a different event, and that was pretty fun. But we'll see. I don't know who's playing who next week. If I'm in, we'll work out the schedule. We've got a full week to do it. It just feels good being done with matches for this week and being able to just kind of relax for a minute before we start worrying about next week.
Yeah.
And Beard Force 1 is actually playing Tile Roomies, which I'm familiar with a couple of them, but I don't think I've ever actually... I've gone against Hazu Kitty, but that's pretty much it. So.
Yeah, so Skullwood's Big Skip, the team that you guys are playing are the one team that survived week 1 unscathed. But I don't know how they've been doing this particular week.
Yeah, they kind of threw the schedule threw Titans Mitts, our team, to the wolves, so to speak. Yeah, because we start out with Broken Triforce, and our goal was at minimum we wanted a split, but obviously you want to win every game. But knowing how good they are, it was it was kind of a let's see how we can do. Let's hope for a 1-1 or hope to win both and fall back on a 1-1 if we have to. And I wasn't complaining about that at all, having the 1-1, just given how things or how good those runners are.
Yeah, Broken Triforce is a pretty gross set of runners there. Also, the Fendrana Drifters having Jet, who won the last tournament here, and a lot of others there. Skullwood's Big Skip's pretty good. You guys, Titans Mitts, are pretty good. There's lots of really good teams in this division, so I hope we're all ready for that mess.
Yeah, this entire Pyramid of Power group is pretty powerful. No pun intended. I mean, I legitimately look at every team and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I believe the answer is pray.
Cry.
Yeah, just go get in front of the desert opening thing and bend down and pray a good bit. Make sure you have the book though, otherwise you're not gonna know what to say.
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought you were saying, yeah, just go stand in front of the train. It'll be okay. You'll get ran over.
No.
Dang, man, brutal.
All right, so once again, thank you to both of our runners here, Unknown and Daaanty. We appreciate the show you put on and the show of sportsmanship here between the two teams, and congratulations to Titans Mitts on just thoroughly destroying us this week. And we'll, good luck to you next week. And for everybody here, thanks for watching this match of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. We've got plenty more action coming your way this week on a various slew of channels, a lot of which will be the SpeedGaming channels, but also the ALTTPR League channels. And I want to thank everybody here behind the scenes. I want to thank Edium, also a member of the Titans Mitts, for running the tracking today. And, of course, my co-commentator, Relkin. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem.
And, of course, the organizers of the tournament and everybody who puts on this amazing league of ridiculousness. You guys had the exact same collection rate.
Yeah, I
I
was
was
about
noticing that.
Yeah, that's baller.
And it's exactly half the checks. So, wait, no, it's not.
No,
I
it's
can't
not.
math. Sorry. My brain saw 128 and 216 and made that 256. And I'm like, wait, there's not 256 checks in this game. You dumb.
But yeah, point made. Same collection rate.
I've never seen that, and we had the same heart. Yeah, it's almost like we pretty much checked the exact same spots.
Well,
Did you go-
Daaanty had
what did you
one
go-
fewer heart total.
Oh yeah, okay, he had 11, so apparently I had
I had
one
another
extra
bottle.
heart. And oh, you got an extra bottle. I left the bottle on
Well, he left the
Huh.
bottle there too. I think the other bottle was where was the other bottle?
GT, right side.
Oh yeah, he went
That's where I
right
got
side.
the green goo.
Oh,
Yeah.
you went right side first. Oh no.
I mean, I got a key.
So you
Why not?
if you would have actually gone left side, you would have had vastly less. Okay, that's funny. You would have had 4 less than me. That's actually extremely funny because I went Hope Room and then the right side. So GT was third spot for me.
Yeah, I didn't know what your route was, so I just did what I normally do if I'm just playing alone. Sometimes I'll switch up my GT routing just depending on like what my opponent does or is known to do.
I do the same thing. It depends on what I get in Hope Room, and just sometimes I'll stick to a regular path. Like my GT routing, there is no set routing. I do different stuff. Or sometimes I'll go left side first and then hop back to right side just because. So, yeah. Either way.
I do like the first 2 keys, or the first 2 chests, the torch, and the 4 in the skull room, and then depending on the number of small keys I found, determines where I go next.
Well, thank you guys again. I know we were going to wrap up and everything, so thank you guys again for doing the comms, the tracking, the restream, and thanks to Relkin because we didn't get any shields. I know he's really happy about that.
But yeah, thank you to you two for running this beautiful game at Randomizer. We all love and enjoy. Real quick before we close out, I want to go ahead and mention that there are a few other league games happening tonight. Right now, or in a little bit, we got Obscure Lifeform versus SA 15. I'm not sure. I probably butchered that. Going on SpeedGaming 5. It may have already ended. I'm not sure, but it was happening or is happening. Falcon versus Sneaky Wombat on the ALTTPR League. That is happening right now. We got Ricky of Kokiri versus Nabs happening. I think it just started on SpeedGaming 4, and Dracaris versus Imosaru on coming up later tonight. Not sure what channel that'll be on. I actually don't know off the top of my head, but we'll see. But yeah, a few more matches going on tonight. But yeah, with that, I've been Relkin and my co-commentator Dr. Bob and our tracker Edium. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys later.
See you later.